welcome to another installment of TED Excellence, the show in which I go back in time to rethink jail time. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday once again. Terrifying Thursday. Yes, we return once again to the wonderful world of off-brand TED Talks to try to learn something, or at least try to learn what somebody else thinks of something. That's usually how it goes. It's been a week. It's been a day, month end and all that fun stuff. Lots of paperwork, lots of invoicing, lots of this, that, and the other. And here I am ready to decompress, but not decompress because I live on the moon, and that would be unhealthy. But before we get into all the other nonsense, who is joining me on this adventure tonight? Adabisi, hello. Jaeger Pony, hello. Matt Barnes, hello. Kyle Mack, hello. Keever Dam, hello. Who else? Oh, and then, of course, chat jumps because, of course, it does. Spittlebuggies, hello. Zeke Weiss, hello. Chicago Mike, hello. Jonathan Peterson, hello. Funtime Bats, hello. Swirl Blue, hello. Jamie Melquist, hello. Lexi Mads. Lexi Mads is here before 15 minutes or 20 minutes have passed. Oh, my God. It's a llama, hello. Resolute Germ, hello. Hell Triangle, hello. The gayest person on YouTube, hello. Otho May, hello. Yoshi the Macabre, hello. Ryan R, hello. Luke Skywalker 2, hello. Nobody Not Me, hello. Emperor WR Costin, hello. Roger Reynolds, hello. Big Dave 1066, hello. Gulf City Johnny Blaze, hello. Non Vitae Rex, hello. Hope everyone's doing well. So, what are we looking at tonight? Well, and I'm apologies if I get this mispronounced. I'm trying. We're looking at Ashinaabe Peacemaking is the New Justice. Now, what does this have to do with anything? Well, for those of you who have watched my past TEDx's or the handful of videos I've done on the subject, restorative justice as a concept, oftentimes the speakers advocating for it will reference as either inspiration or, the foundation of their theory being Native American peacemaking practices or Native American peacekeeping practices, something like that, or indigenous peacekeeping practices. They hearken back to an ancient way of dealing with problems amongst a community that was something other than punitive, incarceration and justice like we currently have and operate under. But as far as I can recall, every time that one of those speakers was referring to this, they were referring to it in the abstract because they themselves did not practice this stuff. They were getting inspiration, from it. Well, when I saw the title of this TEDx talk and I read a little bit of the capsule, which I usually don't read much of the capsule unless I absolutely have to, I became convinced that what we have here is someone who actually practices this stuff in real life with their own community amongst their own culture. And so I thought it would be beneficial for our collective perspectives to listen to someone speaking from direct experience on this. And as well, compare and contrast with our current criminal justice system and would it work? What are the problems and so on. Now, if you guys do not know, if there's anybody here who doesn't know what restorative justice means, okay, this is the very simplistic definition, okay? Think of the situation when you were young and you got in a fight with another kid, okay? And then some adult came in and pulled you two apart and say, okay, shake hands and make up. That's kind of what it is. The general structure of this is you take the victim of a crime, you take the perpetrator of a crime, you put them in a room together with other stakeholders from the community in which the crime was perpetrated because the community itself has been harmed psychically or whatever from the crime. And then you have it out. The victim explains the impact the crime had on them. The criminal explains where they were coming from and expresses grief or apology for it. And then everybody parts being better people. And that's better than jail. That's better than the criminal justice system. um, or the criminal legal system, as you'll hear the phrase put many times these days. It is a subtle spike at the word justice, since there is no justice in our criminal justice system. That's the theory. The one part that is almost classically left out of restorative justice practices is due process. Almost every conversation or description of this initiative or this theory begins with having the victim and the perpetrator in the room. Rarely is there ever made mention of anything that occurs before that, like the determination of guilt and so on. So anyway, that's all my sort of baseline knowledge preamble of restorative justice before we get into it with our speaker. But before that, thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk, for the happy, dancy, lovely dog cat fox. Oh, dog cat fox.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Appreciate it. All right, so a couple more hellos, and then we'll dive into it. BG, hello. Texas Attorney General Secret Agent, hello. Mr. Tickle Trunk, of course, hello. Anyone else? I don't see. Check your logic, hello, if I didn't already say so. And Bridget. Oh, speaking of which, Bridget. I spoke to Fernanda. She was not using her phone at the time of your timeout or whatever. It was apparently effectively a butt dial. She was using her phone, I should say, on a different thing while the stream was going. So there was some sort of weird bug or crossover or something. So I don't know if she's here. If she's here lurking, I'm sure she can speak for herself. But I did speak to her directly just to make sure nothing hinky was going on. And she had no idea what was happening. So I'm guessing it was some kind of glitch. So there you go for a situation from a previous stream. But all that being the case, this presentation clocks in at just over 13 minutes, so about your average TEDx. I will start off with a few seconds to test sound, and then you guys tell me if you can hear it. Also, by the way, if you didn't already see the pin note in the chat, the bingo card for tonight is A as in Airwolf. Links to the bingo cards are in the description below. And with that being said, let's go.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, I know she's got a little headset on, but for a second there, I thought she was talking into her feather. So, yeah, that was just my first impression. You guys hear that okay? Let me know if you heard that. 5x5 says, nobody, not me. Devil Fruit Zero, hello. Everybody says they can hear it. All right, so hello, everybody, and
for coming to our TED Talk today.
Yes, TEDx talk. Let's not aggrandize ourselves quite yet.
Today I'll be doing a talk on Anishinaabe peacemaking is the new justice.
Okay.
Before I get into my presentation, I always like to talk about where I come from. I know where I come from. I know who I am. I know where I'm going.
That's a good way to look at it. For those of you listening at home, there's a card up. There is a stamp up in the corner. First Nations in Treaty 2 territory. Treaty 2 territory. Is this? Oh, is this Canada? I'm guessing so.
Prior to working at Treaty 2 in the, as a peacemaker, I worked for Manitoba Justice for 10 years. And while I was with Manitoba Justice, I created the first mandated Indigenous healing program. And with that opportunity, I got to travel across Manitoba and teach identity, teach Indigenous people their history, teach them where they come from, teach them their culture.
Teaching identity. Always kind of a, sort of catches my brain these days, but all right. So Manitoba. So yes, Canada.
And then teach them about the power they have within.
Okay.
And so with that, I got the opportunity to also go into all the correctional centers. I went into the Federal Correctional Center, Headingley, the Women's, all the youth centers. And just keep in mind that in Manitoba, Indigenous people are overrepresented. They're
overrepresented? Okay. Why?
Probably approximately 80% of Indigenous people that are incarcerated.
80% of Indigenous people are incarcerated in Manitoba. Wait, what? Is that true? 80%? I'm assuming she's talking about Manitoba. I don't know, but 80% of the Indigenous population is incarcerated? Or is she saying 80% of the incarcerated population is indigenous? I'm going to back up a couple of seconds because I'm not quite sure I understood that one.
Indigenous people are overrepresented. There's probably approximately 80% of Indigenous people that are incarcerated. And in the youth center, it's 81%.
Wait. Okay, I'm assuming that she means that the population of the prisons or centers or whatever is made up 80% of Indigenous population, not that 80% of the Indigenous population is incarcerated. I hope, maybe. I mean, not I hope, but I mean, it's better than the alternative, I guess.
A few years ago, the University of Manitoba did a research project on the impacts of the CFS system in the justice system. And what they found that 60% of those kids that are in CFS end up in the justice system.
CFS, I'm assuming Child and Family Services. Okay, 60% of the kids that end up in CFS end up in the justice system. So 60% of all kids, not just Indigenous kids.
And in 2019, there was 11,000 kids in care in Manitoba that were all Indigenous.
11,000. Okay, so what percentage of the 60% is that? Or, okay, I'm already confused. Let's go to the bingo card real quick to make sure that I'm not missing something here. So, bingo card A, collectivizes own demographic. I mean, I suppose if she's talking about her tribe and her culture and everything, that's kind of unavoidable. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a mark in her disfavor or something, but I think that's unavoidable when you're talking about tribal culture. Systemic institutional. I mean, she's talking about the criminal justice system, and so, well, I'll wait until she says it. Also circling free space because, of course, we do. Sales pitch for product or service. Not yet. And just mentioning an organization she's involved with does not necessarily a sales pitch make. Childhood or family anecdote, not yet. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, not yet. Plays victim, not yet. Microaggressions, unconscious bias, no. Privilege, no. Contradicts own point or argument, hasn't made one yet. Patriarchy, no. Weightless example, not yet. Wage gap, no. Feminism, no. Marginalized, marginalization, I'd be surprised if we don't get there. A list, I'd also be surprised if we don't get there. White supremacy, not yet. Word salad, not yet. Self-vilification or wretchedness, I'd be surprised. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. We'll see. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase, not yet. Mind reading assumes motives, no. Benevolent condescension, not yet. Anecdote that probably never happened, not yet. And lastly, leaves out vital context. I'm circling leaves out vital context because I am still baffled by that percentage that she gave us at the top. Was she talking about the whole population of the province or the country, or was she talking about the makeup of the populations within the prisons and such? So, yeah, I know that might be a kind of a small one, but it obviously caught my brain.
So now imagine when these kids grow up, they're going to be entering into a justice system. So being in that, working as a doing the CAP program, that's what the program was called, the Culturally Appropriate Program that I created for Manitoba Justice.
The Culturally Appropriate Program. CAP. Okay. Hell Triangle, thank you so much. Incoming racism of the gaps. Well, we might have the God of the gaps theory of statistical analysis. I wouldn't be surprised, but all right. So anyway, you started a CAP organization?
And with that opportunity, I heard many stories. I heard from the survivors of residential schools. I heard from their children. I heard from their grandchildren. And what I started to recognize and learn was the intergenerational impacts. I heard about how the overrepresentation in the different systems as a result of taking away our sovereignty.
System, so circling systemic / institutional. Taking away our sovereignty. Okay, so this is as much a Indigenous rights talk as it is about a restorative justice talk, I guess. Because
prior to the Indian Act, we had our own systems in place. We had a justice system, we had a health system, we had a CFS system, but it wasn't about power and control. It was always about healing and bringing people back into balance.
Okay, now just as a sort of note here, I know just about as much of Canadian Indigenous relations to be dangerous. So I don't really know that much about it. So a lot of it I'm just going to have to stipulate too, because I don't know otherwise. But and she just kind of laid it out. This is the philosophical difference between what we would call our modern criminal justice system and the restorative justice theory, is that you're seeking healing, you're seeking rehabilitation, or I don't know, moving on as the prime focus, and not as punitive punishment, which is what the modern criminal justice system uses as the tool for punishment. So we'll see how the theory goes here.
And so as I traveled across Manitoba, it was a 4-day program, and I would say 3,000 to 3,000 people took the program.
Mm-hmm.
And so I heard their pain. I
Yeah.
heard about growing up in poverty, growing up with no running water, growing up with addiction, CFS involvement. And when you hear those stories over and over, it hits home. My grandparents went to residential schools. I had teen parents, and
You had, okay, well, childhood or family anecdote, circling that one. I don't doubt the reality of the stories she's saying and so on. I'm just curious as to what it has to do with the larger picture. So childhood or family anecdote on the board. Okay.
so as a result, I didn't know my culture, I didn't know my identity, and I too struggled with addictions in my early 20s.
I always get a little, iffy on making culture part of your identity. I mean, sure, it can craft your sense of yourself a little bit, your sense of place in society, but is it an identity? That word's thrown around so much these days, and every time that I hear it, most often it is trying, or it is effectively homogenizing a person into a monolith perspective, not an individual, but a monolith. Culture, family history, cultural history. I don't dismiss that importance to people at all. I get a little, like I say, a little iffy on the idea that it is then an identity, trying to get rid of the individuality of a person and say that you are part of a collective. That's the part where this gets me always a little caught.
But when I went back to school, I found my identity. I found my personal power. I found that I'm a human being.
Okay, it took you that. I know she's probably talking in sort of like the self-reflective, abstract sense, but that always strikes me as an odd way to put it.
And so with the spirit of this TED Talk, The Essence of Humanity, those people that I worked with across Manitoba, I heard that they're human beings as well.
And this was a great revelation to you. It just sounds so weird. I'm sorry.
And so when you start to hear their stories about how they're in that system because of the loss of identity, they're in that system because they don't know who they are.
I thought they were in that system because of either the absence of parents or crimes committed or some other situation that would put them in family services. I don't think it's loss of identity. Thank you, tall person. Hoy, can't watch live. We'll watch in full later. Happy Ask a Stupid Question Day. Oh, well, in that spirit, when are we going to get to a point?
And the Indian Act took control of our people, and then they enforced us onto reservations. And so many people don't know that when they forced us onto the reservations, our ancestors, we weren't allowed to leave. We had to get a permit or a pass system from the Indian agent.
I will stipulate, I don't know.
Just to go hunting, to go shopping, to buy something, we had to get permission.
If anybody in the chat knows, and I swear I'll try to glance over as I'm watching this. Does anybody know when the Indian Act was put into place? And I'm assuming it is no longer an active law. When did it, fall out of use? So what was the lifespan of the Indian Act in Canada? Because I honestly don't know.
Fortunately, that was lifted, those pass and permit systems, but the legacy and the harm of residential schools, the 60s scoop, the day schools, the Indian Act still continues to impact our people. So,
okay, again, I will, for the sake of argument, I will stipulate to all of that. I have a sort of passing layman's knowledge of the injustices done to Indigenous people in Canada over history. So sure, granted. What's that got to do with anything? Let's see. 1876, it was put into place and apparently faded out sometime in the 1950s. Okay, so let's see. Joshua Sager. Joshua Sager's here live. Well, Joshua, for those of you that don't know and have seen some either previous TEDx's and stuff, Joshua often offers some very interesting and insightful commentary in the aftermath of a TEDx that I more often than not pin to the comments. Scribelight, I'm interested in how she squares the fact that traditional Ashinaabe justice included a death sentence for serious crimes like murder and witchcraft and exile for other serious crimes. Well now, Joshua, I'm interested too. Let's see if she addresses that. And thank you so much for the tidbit.
So as a result, even though I created the first mandated healing program, let me let you know that also it was also evaluated. So we got an evaluation done on it. So once I was completed, we did an evaluation with adults, women, men, youth, elders, people in community, out of community.
So people of all ages. Okay.
Incarceration in the city.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that evaluation came out that it was 96% effective.
What was effective? An evaluation? You mean like a survey? Okay, I know, like all these questions run my, like, how many people were asked? What was their direct experience with this program? 96% effective at doing what?
So even though it was great that I was able to create a healing program for the people, it wasn't enough to do what needed to be done in our communities to lift the spirit of our people back up.
Well, you haven't even told us exactly what it is that you've done and or what it is that you do. So I have no way of evaluating what this is yet. And we're 4 minutes, almost 5 minutes into a 13-minute presentation.
So as a result, I decided to leave Manitoba Justice because I seen that justice system does not work. And as I start to recognize the policies that were continuing to be enforced, that they were going in the wrong direction.
So rather than try to fix and or revise what's going on, you just left it to run on its own? Okay.
So then I told my supervisor, you know what? I don't want to be with Manitoba Justice anymore. I'm going to go create our own justice system.
Okay. A justice system that exists outside of the established law and authorities. There's a word for that. It's not usually looked kindly upon by law enforcement and the government, but okay.
For Indigenous people.
Oh, a separate justice system for Indigenous people. So a different set of rules based on your ethnicity and or your race, I'm assuming. Okay.
So that's where I am. I'm at Treaty 2 territory, working for the First Nations Treaty 2 government as a peacemaker.
Treaty 2 government? Okay. Again, I don't know what that means. I have no idea what a Treaty 2 territory or a Treaty 2 government means. Is this like, are these similar to like the Sioux Nation in the United States, where there's kind of a different code and laws, and there's some parts of the country that are sort of run by Native Americans here? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
It's kind of cool because I'm originally from the Deer Clan, and the Deer Clan, when you look at our clan systems that were in place prior to contact, the Deer Clan were actually the peacemakers. So it's kind of cool how I went into ceremony to get my spirit name, and then now I'm living it in my career.
Okay.
So now I'm there. And so the Treaty 2 territory is located in Manitoba, and it kind of goes into Saskatchewan.
That is a giant piece of geography. What does it mean to be a Treaty 2 territory? I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming the audience she's speaking to knows this. I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Right now, we have 10 local First Nations that are signed on to our government and are promoting peacemaking in their First Nations.
Okay, so there's a secondary governmental justice system taking place in Canada, especially for people based on their heredity, I guess. Yeah, we got that was definitely a list. There's a whole bunch of things that were just listed out there. So I'm circling a list on the board. I already circled leaves out vital context. Okay, let's get some. Speaking of context, let's go to the comments real quick. USP 211816. Scribelight Treaty 2 was entered into on 21st August 1871 at Manitoba House. The treaty reaffirmed the inherent rights that the Ashinaabe and Anishinabe, if I'm saying that correctly, had prior to the European contact. Okay, so they do exist as sort of their own entity within Canada. Okay, I mean that's not an unknown concept. We have similar things going on here in America. Okay, so all right, I'll see how this works. She has a card up on the board, on the screen real quick. I don't know if she'll read the whole thing. Let's see if she does.
So the first thing that we had to do when we were coming up with, well, what kind of system do we want to have in place? Because we can't have the same system that's in place, because that system that's right now, the justice system, is not working.
Right. The justice system is not working, so you're going to replace it with a new system that focuses on healing. And also, because I neglected to say hello on my previous stream, hello, Angela Arriaga. There you go. I try to make up for past mistakes. Okay, so your own system, you're not sure what system you want to have in place, even though your tribe was the peacemakers. Shouldn't you already know what the system should be?
So we said, well, we need a system that's about our Anishinaabe values, our culture, our ways of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to read this quote by Black Elk. Circles. You notice that everything an Indian does is in a circle, and that is because the power of the world always works in circles. And
everything an Indian does is in a circle. Okay.
Everything tries to be round. I heard the sky is round, and I have heard the earth is round like a ball, and so are all the stars.
The sky is round, and I have heard that the earth is round like a ball, and so are all the stars.
The wind in its greatest power whirls. Birds make their nests in circles, for theirs is the same religion as ours. Even the seasons form a great circle, and they're changing and always coming back again to where they were. The life of a man is in a circle from childhood to childhood, so it is in everything where power moves.
Okay. Now, for those of you that have not watched previous restorative justice speeches, circles are a part of restorative justice. As I described at the beginning, you have the victim, the perpetrator, and you have people from the community, and they sit in a circle because everyone there is equal in the sense that they're all part of the same system, etc., and then they talk it out. So I assume that's where this is going. We're going to be talking about circles in peacekeeping justice.
Black Elk. And that is an Anishinaabe worldview that everything goes in a circle. The universe moves in a circle.
Right.
The galaxy moves in a circle. The world moves in a circle.
Well, the universe as a circle, that's... I've seen various theories on exactly what shape the universe is in and how it operates, but that's beyond my local understanding.
And even the baby in a mother's womb moves in a circle. So that's where the power needs to come from. So as we created our model, we knew we had to switch from that power and control system.
Okay, so for those of you at home, there's a card up. It shows a pyramid drawing with, various levels, sort of like Maslow's triangle. And then it has an arrow moving over to a very intricate circular circle, a circle of circles. I'll see if she goes over all of them.
That hierarchy system where people at the top make all the decisions and the people at the bottom have to live with them. So we said we got to go back to the circle. So we created the peacemaking system.
Is there and I don't know, in our speaker's tribe, is there a chief or an administrator? Is there a council? Aren't you part of a small group that is making the justice system? So aren't you part of the hierarchy that will be dictating to everybody else how everything's supposed to work? Or am I misunderstanding?
Based on circles. So I'll just start in the beginning with in the center, the framework. So this Anishinaabe framework is actually work done by Amy Kraft and John Burroughs, who teach at the universities across Canada. And so in the middle of that circle is Minubidasawin. And in our culture, that means that living a good life. And
living a good life, as defined by what?
That's our spiritual law, that we all want to live a good life.
Well, my good life and someone else's good life could be completely different things. So
the outer circle that you see on the outside is our natural laws. So the natural laws that we identify for our system is natural order.
Okay, just a note. I had no idea that the phrase I used on the thumbnail would actually end up being used in the talk. That's just a coincidence. I just came up with something that seemed to fit the theme that I was assuming the talk would be about, but she just used the same phrase. That's she said the thing. She said the thing.
Peace, harmony, and balance. And balance is especially important because prior to contact, when people were acting out, the elders would say, we don't punish them, we help them because they're not in balance. And that's why they're acting out. So we're going to surround that individual and give them the love and belonging they need so that they can return to balance.
Okay, well, as Joshua Sager brought up, and as my classic question regarding restorative justice is, what do you do with the rapist? What do you do with the serial killer? What do you do with, as he said, a witch amongst your people? You just surround them with love and hope they won't do it again?
And then on the outer circle is our customary laws. Because across the Anishinaabe territory, every First Nation has different customs. So we want to make sure that we recognize them in our laws, in our creation as well.
I guess I'll find out if she says, can you take that many differing belief systems and legal systems and make a cohesive single unit out of them all?
And then on the outside are the human laws. So the human laws that we have in our local nations, the federal laws, and et cetera. So that is the Anishinaabe legal framework. And then on the outside are the 7 circles of peacemaking. And the 7 circles of peacemaking, you can call them like departments.
Okay, departments of peacemaking. Which one deals with violent crime? Just out of curiosity. Because if you can tell me how you deal with the worst crimes amongst human civilization, I get an idea of how it works for everything else.
It's like we had the justice has the court department, the police department, the probation department.
So it has a bureaucracy and a hierarchy? Ooh, I thought this was all about circles.
Well, we call ours circles because we are moving away from Western terms.
Oh, so just changing the words you're using makes everything different. Okay.
So I'll start with the first, before I move on to the first one, the whole peacemaking system is governed by a peacemaking governing circle who are representatives from the grassroots people.
Okay, so there is a group of people at the top of your justice system overseeing how the justice system operates for everyone else. You know, I'm starting to think, and you might correct me if I'm wrong here, that this diagram she's showing us of all these circles, like these flat circles, I'm actually looking down at a rounded cone with a stratified set of layers. If you can imagine what I'm thinking of there.
Because we want to make sure that it's grassroots driven up and not top down.
How is it not top down if there is a governing council at the top. What?
So the first circle is the bijou, the link circle.
Uh-huh.
And when you look, and these circles are based on the traditional Anishinaabe governing clan system.
Okay.
And with the clan system, we recognize that each clan comes with different gifts. So the whole system is based on the strengths and the gifts of the people that work in there.
Oh, I know how that works. Like the Ventru have dominate, and the Toreador have presence, and the Nosferatu have obfuscate, and the Tremere have, well, you know, what they stole from Salat and everything. So like that, yeah, the clan system, I'm very familiar with the clan system. Special gifts. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Every time she says circle, I want to say circle gets the square. I'm going to, yeah. Okay, so every clan has different gifts, and each one handles a different type of offense, I guess.
So they would be responsible for wellness promotion, early intervention, support services, etc.
Okay, so the links circle department, whatever, is social services. I'll just shorthand it. Okay.
The next circle, my clan, is the deer circle. They're responsible for restorative peacemaking, sharing circles, healing circles, and wellness plans. So just moving over to the wellness.
Whoa, you jumped. She jumped from that real quick. Let me go back real quick. Okay. I'm not even going to try to attempt to pronounce that word. I would just do it injustice. So the deer circle is responsible for restorative peacemaking, including sharing circles, meditation, healing circles, and family group conferencing. That is a wide range of things. And underneath that in faded text is humility. Okay.
Plan. So just moving over to the wellness plan.
Uh-huh.
So unlike the Western system, we look at creating that has risk assessments. We create wellness plans and wellness assessments.
Wellness assessments. Okay. And I'm pausing just so I can sort of avoid any kind of, you know, problems with content matching or anything else, but also because I'm just trying to absorb and digest what I'm being told for a moment. Wellness assessment. Okay. How does that work?
So once they...
What? And she jumped cards again. Okay, well, I'm going to go back. All right. So for those of you at home or those of you watching right now, there are two diagrams, one next to each other. I'm assuming the first one is the Western model, which is just a crosshair circle pie chart with a oblong in the middle-ish. And then there's the wellness plans, which I'm assuming is what she's operating with. Okay, so the first wedge in this 4-piece pie is called mental. I can make a joke. Elder teachings, oral traditions, learning, storytelling, programs, teaching, education, employment, self-learning, self-determination. Okay, so there's plan to achieve all those things. Okay, the next one is emotional. Expressing feelings, dealing with anger, consulting with elders, humor, crying, laughing, honesty, singing, helping one another, gift exchange, support, and counseling. Okay, the next one is spiritual with white text on red, and it's kind of hard to read. Following values, honor, respect, humility, good parenting, vision quest, giveaways, fasting, ceremonies, giving thanks, prayer, and church. All right, and lastly, physical, eating healthy, berries, as in BERRIES, clean water, exercise, hunting, fishing, gardening, gathering, volunteer in the community, and sports. Okay, so, and these plans are what? These are the plans imposed upon people who are offenders in a community? I mean, I am assuming that all of this applies to someone who has done wrong. Let's just put it that simply. This is the process for dealing with someone who has done wrong. So you have a mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical wellness plan for someone who has done wrong. And again, I know I'm asking a rhetorical question, but I'm just trying to get it here.
Wellness assessments. So once they do that wellness assessment and plan, then we do a wraparound model where we're able to surround the individual and provide them that love and belonging and support and resources that they need to complete their wellness plan.
Okay, so you take someone who has done wrong, you surround them with love and support, you tell them that they have to commit to and complete a wellness plan, and then you give them support through the course of them completing that wellness plan. Okay.
And then they take that wellness plan over to the Eagle Circle.
Uh-huh.
And then the Eagle Circle does all the
You said programming quite a bit. I'm of the Ashinaabe identity, decolonization, breaking intergenerational impacts, healthy relationships, karma, energy, Ashinaabe parenting, and lateral kindness programs. And in faded text below that is love. Okay. Uh-oh, am I roboting? Uh-oh. How bad is it? Let me check. Am I getting a... Oh, I am. I'm getting a signal problem with my stream from StreamYard. Uh-oh. Now, this could kill the whole thing before I finish it. Yeah. I will wait to see if it catches up to do this until I know. Okay, I'm putting that up as a visual cue if you're actually understanding me for anybody watching in the future so they can see where the problem part is and skip over it. So once I hear from you guys in the chat that everything has come back to normal, I will take that off the screen. But I'm assuming that it's not coming back to normal. All right, so I'm waiting. Okay, so you guys need to let me know when you can hear me clearly. Yeah. Okay. Oh, she's roboting? That doesn't make any sense. Why would she be roboting? Maybe it's because that's the part that StreamYard is handling. Okay, I'll bring it back. Let's see. And speaking of bringing it back real quick, I'm waiting for StreamYard to catch up with YouTube. I apologize, guys. This was technical difficulty. Yeah, the StreamYard is telling me that whatever the problem was, it's now passed, at least presumably. I'm waiting to see if I can get that back from... Okay, Mr. Ticklestrong, thanks so much. You sound good. Video playing is now roboting. Okay, well, when did it start roboting? At what point did it start roboting? I'll go back a little bit. I apologize, everyone. Live TV, all that fun stuff. So let me know in the chat when last it was clear. What do you remember when last it was clear? And I will jump back to it. Please go back for the last part she said. Okay, I'm going to go back to the previous. Okay, we'll start here and see what it says. Okay, guys?
Plan. And then they take that wellness plan over to the Eagle Circle. And then the Eagle Circle does all the interventions and programming, land-based activities, teaching, storytelling, programming, etc. And the goal of that is to try to keep those first three circles within the local nations.
Okay, did you guys hear all that all right? Did that play okay? Let me know, and I'll continue on here. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, programming twice. Yes, talking about programming. All right, all good? All right, so that must have been some kind of StreamYard glitch, guys. I apologize for those of you watching in the future. Hopefully that little card helped you skip over most of the problem. All right, so the next circle, the turtle circle, is responsible for the Anishinaabe, I'll get it right eventually, Law Center and Registrar. I'm still exceedingly confused as to how any of this is supposed to apply to the worst crimes. What exactly does this look like? I'm assuming we're not going to get there.
So that they don't have to leave their home to go get services.
Okay.
So the whole point is to try to keep them in there without notifying the Turtle Circle, who is
What?
responsible for our law center and registry. So for some reason, if they decide, well, you know what, I'm not going to complete my wellness plan, then the Turtle Circle is notified and they identify which laws were broken. Is it the law of harmony? Is it the law of peace? What law has been broken?
The law of harmony, the law of peace. Am I in another Jedi temple right now? I really wish she'd give me an active example, and say, we had someone who went through this, and even if she uses like a fake name, right? And just say, John was found to have done X offense. And so this is the plan we put him through, and this is what John did. So I'll just keep using the name. If John doesn't follow the rules of his wellness plan to, I don't know, cleanse himself of his responsibility for whatever crime he committed, then he'll be chased by the turtles. And then what happens? And then
once they identify that, they inform the Bear Circle. And the Bear Circle are our peacekeepers.
Wait. So someone doesn't do their wellness plan. The turtles find out they haven't done their wellness plan, and then the turtles call in the bears. Okay.
And the peacekeepers are like police.
So there is a hierarchy of who gets to enforce the laws in your circle system that doesn't have layers like the Western system. They're like police? No, I'm sorry. If they are the ones going in to enforce the laws, they are police.
That's where they enforce the laws.
Yeah, so if they're law enforcement, then the bears are police. They're not like police. Okay.
And then even within that circle are the subcircles. So we have...
Oh, not subcircles. Subcircles within circles? Oh, boy.
The sun bear, the red bear, the white bear, and the black bear.
The sun bear, the red bear, the black bear, and the white bear. Who carries out the assassinations?
And each one of those also come with strengths and gifts and how to do peacekeeping within each First Nation. And we want our peacekeepers to have a positive approach to the people. And we want our people to be able to go to them, not run from them.
Well, what do they do? I mean, I know I'm not going to get the answer. What is the difference between a sun bear and a red bear as far as responsibilities or authoritative powers or things they oversee? Anything? Okay. Thank you, Chicago Mike. Which circle has the dream police? Yeah. All things considered, I wouldn't be surprised if there was such a thing. But we're not going to get any more explanation about what all these little groups and subgroups are we? We're not going to get an active example of what you do with someone who commits the worst kind of crime, are we? Man, Mr. Tickletrong, thank you so much. They act like police, but not full-time. They live their own lives, but are on call. Think of it like a small town's fire brigade. Okay, all right. Volunteer police. Okay. I wish she would give us that kind of context.
And then, of course, we can't have a legal system unless we have a court system. But we're moving away from those court systems, and we call them the Loon Circle. The Loon Circle is responsible for criminal law, family law, civil law, youth law, etc.
So all the laws, basically, save for maybe like probate or something. I guess that can fall into family. Okay, so, as much as you're telling me that this is a circle, this is still a hierarchy because there's a order. There's step 1, step 2, step 3. There's people in charge and people who are not in charge. There's people who have the authority to do certain things and people who do not have the authority to do certain things.
So the difference between the regular court system that's in that triangle
Yeah.
is that everybody sits in a circle and they go over the wellness plan.
Right. Sitting in a circle, going over a wellness plan, even though somebody in that circle is the judge or adjudicator and someone else there is the criminal and or offender. Okay.
And there is a judge there. The judge sits there with the people and finds out, okay, what happened here?
And the judge has authority that the other people in the circle do not possess, right?
Why do we need to extend your time? Why didn't you complete your wellness plan?
What happens if they don't? What is the punishment? What is the Damocles sword hanging over their head to complete their wellness plan? What?
And then maybe they need to order them, just like the court does with probation services.
Order them under what threat? What is the incentive or disincentive for? What happens to someone who does wrong and is not rehabilitative or is not participating in the rehabilitative process? What do you do with this person? Do you have jails?
And then if the person feels like they haven't been treated fairly, then they go to the crane circle.
If the person, so this is the appeals process, okay, is responsible for appeals circle and will involve a grandmother council.
And the crane circles are appeals, but it's also our grandmother circle because traditionally in Anishinaabe culture, the grandmothers were the final say. If there was anything happening in the local nations, the grandmothers would come together and their word was final.
So you have a segment of your criminal justice system that is segregated on the basis of age and gender?
And so just like the current system that has appeals, people can appeal, but the goal, once again, is to bring them back into the circle.
So, appeal what exactly? Like, what are they appealing? Are they appealing a sentence? Are they appealing a punishment? What would a sentence look like? What would a punishment look like? What are they appealing? And if the end result of the appeal is just to put them back in the same process that brought them to the point of appealing in the first place, what exactly is being accomplished? I am decidedly confused. So
that they can return back to the deer circle and complete that wellness plan because it's all about healing.
You know, I'm imagining, and again, it's been a long time since I've done comparative religions and things, but what's, you know, is it the Buddhist system where you keep being reborn to try again until you get it right? Like, is this? I mean, it is kind of a sort of a dismissive analogy, but I'm sorry. Is this justice system based on Groundhog Day? Like, you just have to keep doing it over and over again, no matter what, till you get it right, as determined by some abstract existential decision maker? Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. Late to the game. Is she holding a feather? She is holding a feather. So yeah, there you go. Okay.
And if they decide, you know what, I don't want to complete my wellness plan, well, then maybe banishment is our last resort.
Banishment is your last resort. Banishment. So, okay, and maybe someone can find this out in the chat, my crack research team. What levels of crimes are handled by this system? I mean, are we talking about just, you know, effectively misdemeanors? If someone commits a murder, do they go through this? If it's a rape, do they go through that? Like, what is this? And also, where is the due process? Where is the finding of fact? Where is the determination of guilt? Where does that start before you even get to the part of putting someone through rehabilitation? Why wasn't that brought up? Does it exist? I don't know. Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. She was circling my patience. This is circling my reason and my logic over how you would treat someone who's been accused of a crime.
And so with this system, We want to rebuild and renew. It's because as we see, we have intergenerational impacts that are pulling us down. Now it's about breaking that cycle and building us up.
How?
So that one day in 4 generations, that our great-grandchildren will understand that they too are humans, and if they believe, they can achieve. Thank you.
What? That. Okay, I mean, this is probably the least enthusiastic I've ever done one such thing before, but I'm just totally and absolutely confused.
What? What is that? What the fuck is that?
I have absolutely no idea what any of that was supposed to say without an active example, without something that I can, sink my teeth into and align this system with. I don't know what any of that means. Okay, so I'm not trying to sound like I'm a prophet or something, but at the beginning of this stream, I asked the question, I wonder if we will see, as has been absent from nearly, as far as I can recall, every other restorative justice presentation I've seen, I wonder if we will see the due process element prior to getting to the healing circles within circles within circles that we have here. Well, there wasn't. What does it mean to commit a crime in this system? What crimes does this system handle? Banishment is the worst thing that can happen to someone. What does banishment mean? I can imagine, I suppose, like being excommunicated from a church or something. But I mean, mechanically speaking, what does banishment do to someone? How much of that is a like staying within the community? How much of that is an incentive for someone to reform themselves? And if the whole system fails, you just kick the person out. I mean, I have so many questions. And don't get me wrong. I understand that TEDx talks are not long, extended lectures on topics and stuff. We're not talking about a professorship kind of deal here. But all the same, if you're going to do a presentation talking about how you have a new solution for justice, I mean, there should at least be some details there that a layman from the outside could understand what you're talking about. But that was not on offer. So, I mean, I'm assuming, audience members such as Joshua and the rest of you who have some familiarity with this will supplement this talk with your comments afterwards. But right now, I'm a bit bewildered. But all that being the case, let's still go to the bingo card and see if we can't find some kind of sense in this. Maybe, kind of, sort of. I don't know. Thank you, Poker. Hope all is well, chat and scribe. Thank you, Poker. Hope all is well with you. All right, so let me... Oh, Mr. Tickletrunk, thanks so much. Banishment used to mean death for individuals in the 1800s. Today, it just means they go to the next village and are free to murder again. Okay, now, I'm assuming you're being facetious, but have murderers gone through this process? Have rapists gone through this process? Are those the level of crimes that are permissible to be handled by a tribal system? And do they operate separate from the criminal justice system of Canada or Manitoba, wherever we're talking about? Could someone go through this process having committed a murder and not also end up before justice in the province? If you know the answer, by all means, let me know. But anyway, bingo card. Okay, here's where we are right now. I'm going to go over the card one more time myself, review, see if we have any more squares to circle. And then after that, any arguments you may have for squares additionally to be circled, that'll be your time. So just hold on a minute. I'll probably go through this pretty quick. Sales pitch for product or service. This is a sales pitch for a justice system. It might not be a product in the classic sense, but it is, I think, very badly trying to sell people on this system as an improvement on the existing. So, diversity, equity, and inclusion. if I do not believe she ever used the words. I don't think so. If I were to stretch the meaning here, the circle system and bringing in everybody. Okay, I'm gonna sit on that one. I'm not quite sure on that one. Plays victim. She didn't talk a whole lot about herself as far as experiences and otherwise. I mean, she said like the Manitoba Justice Organization she was working for wasn't doing what she thought was right, but I don't know if that counts for her playing the victim. She didn't really talk about any. I mean, she talked. Okay, well, no, she talked about growing up. I'm trying to think back now. Did she ever like play the victim? Just listing off hardships you've had in your life does not necessarily mean you're playing the victim. So if somebody else has a better interpretation, microaggressions and conscious bias, no. Privilege, no. She didn't use the word, did she? I don't think so. Contradicts own point or argument. I mean, she kept talking about hierarchies. She kept talking about bureaucracy. She kept talking about people in control and people who are not. So to say that her system is somehow drastically different from the pyramid system that she said they were moving away from is, I think, at best, a misnomer. So I'm going to circle that one. Patriarchy, no. If anything, she was talking about a matriarchy with the grandmothers group at the top. Weightless example. She never gave us an example. I was waiting for a single example of something. She just kept showing us the system and the process. Unless you want to count that as the example that has no weight. I don't know. Wage gap. She talked about poverty, but I don't think she got into like economics all that much. I mean, she started out with some statistics and generational. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for you guys. I don't want to like jump the gun on that one. Feminism. Does the grandmother thing count as feminism? No, it's just like tribal tradition, and that I don't think leans into the actual philosophy of feminism. I could be wrong, but marginalization. It was heavily implied, certainly, with talking about reservations and people being kept on reservations without a pass and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm going to circle that one. Actually, that might also be an argument for privilege, but I'll leave that to you guys. A list, no. White supremacy. She never really brought up race. I mean, she talked about, there are more indigenous people incarcerated, but she never really alighted upon, I guess the Indian Act. Yeah, no, I guess talking about the historical laws and such that discriminated against her people and propped up, obviously, what was a British colony and so on. Yeah, okay, I'm going to circle that one. Yeah, I convinced myself there. Word salad. Oh, yeah. Absolutely no idea what any of that was supposed to mean in an active, functional sense most of the time. Like, what this circle takes care of these things. Like, how and what does spiritual healing have to do with family management? Or I don't know. Self-vilification or wretchedness? No. Wasn't any of that. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. For no reason. She talked about systems so much in this. I don't know that she brought up anything sort of non sequitur. So I don't think so. There's nothing that comes to mind. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. Now, see, that's a tough one because she was referencing things that were already in existence for tribal culture and indigenous culture. So I don't think any of that was new. it might have been a new arrangement of those things, but I didn't really hear any sort of repeated phrase or something except like our justice system, that kind of deal. Thank you, Keldrig, stopping by to show my support before I go bother Monkey. In what way do you plan to bother Monkey? In the biblical sense? Well, go bother Monkey and say hi to him for me from the land of TEDx, so that maybe he'll be reminded that this is my time slot. It's a really nice time slot you got over there, Monkey. Be a shame if someone came in and wrecked the joint. No, I'm just kidding. Am I, though? Not really. Maybe a little. Anyway, thank you, Keldrin. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. Yeah, I don't. You'll have to let me know because I didn't hear anything that was like repeated except like our new justice system. Mind reading assumes motives. She just talked about such abstract concepts and just talked about circles more than anything else. I can't think of anything. Benevolent condescension. Yeah, your justice system sucks and ours is so much better. And here's how it's almost exactly like yours, except it's far more convoluted. Yeah, that's kind of how I took that, honestly, because at no point did I hear anything that said the Western justice system does this and here's how we do it better. It was just your system sucks and ours is better. Okay. An anecdote that probably never happened. She never really gave an anecdote. I mean, she talked about her growing up. She gave us some statistics, which I don't have any way to verify or not verify. So I don't think she never really gave us an anecdote. I was dying for an anecdote. I was hoping for some kind of active example. How does this work in the real world? What does an average case look like? You know, nothing. Okay, so that's the board as I have it right now. We are possibly on the verge of at least one bingo, depending. So now's your time, guys. If you have arguments for squares to be circled that have not yet been circled, please put them in the chat now. Be sure to tag me in those comments so I can differentiate them from other things. Let's see. Ebony Williams says, I'm going to stick around. Oops. I clicked on the wrong thing. I'm going to stick around. Okay, well, I hope you do. If you can't, if something else is going on, you know, or are you talking about going to see Monkey? No, it's fine. No, you want to go see Monkey? I get it. I know he's cooler than I am. It's fine. I get it. Bridget. I think it could be the playing the victim with her part at the beginning. Not knowing her identity made her feel like not a human. It was a feel bad for me moment. Oh, yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah. All right. Like somehow up until I think she said high school or something, she didn't know anything about who she was. And yeah, okay. All right. You got me. You got me on that one. Good job, Bridget. Spud Gun, Scribelight, she did use the current DIE system, everything not including Whitey is diversity, inclusion, and equity. That is true. I mean, she did talk a lot about sort of like, I asked at that point, like, are we talking about the Jedi process again? So, I don't know, though. I mean, again, this is a bingo square. Bingo squares I'm always a little iffy on. Ebony says, I was talking about Monk's stream. By the way, I find you cooler. Oh, well, that is the correct conclusion. I have a very fragile ego. All right, guys. Does this overall system and the things she talked about qualify as DEI practices in the abstract? Was it enough in the aggregate to get us that square? All right, I need you to be honest. I could go either way. So if you think it should be circled, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't think it quite reached the threshold, put a 2. So 1 for yes, 2 for no, and I'll take other arguments as we go. No name, Scribelight, privilege with the reservation thing, being able to leave only with a pass. Yeah, I was saying that too, and I think that qualifies. And well, regardless of the ones going on and the such and things going on right now, I'll count those up in a second. Something just happened. If you can believe it.
Bingo.
Of course.
We have our first bingo right down the middle. Right down the middle. So there you go. There's our first bingo. As for the square up in the corner, the twos seem to have it. The twos seem to be just outnumbering everybody else, or at least it's not enough of a clear majority. Yeah, I don't, without at least saying one of the words, and it only has to be one. You got three options there. She never said any of the three words, I don't believe. So I don't think we get there, but we got our first bingo. Might be our only bingo. I'll give another couple of minutes if you guys have any other arguments for squares to be circled, because I don't want to keep you from Monkey too long, because unlike me, Monkey needs the validation. Monkey needs the validation. I do not want to deprive him of your love and affection, because he doesn't get enough of it from the cute, tiny kitty cat he now is in possession of, or his adorable granddaughters, or his loving wife. No, he needs your attention. I'm just here, childless, single, by myself, in a cold apartment. Sorry, cold moon base. I mean, I guess I have Dog Cat Fox for company, right? Dog Cat Fox. Wowie wow wow. Yeah, Dog Cat Fox is great company. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. Spud Gun, don't start with the self-pity. It doesn't suit you, sir. Does it suit me when I'm being melodramatic? Let's see. No name. Diversity with her circles and circles and circles, Scribelight. Oh, like all the various bears. All the various bears. Scribelight, she brought up a patriarchal figure in describing the policing system, quote, most powerful male, quote, or whatever she said exactly. I thought it was did she say male? I thought she said bears. And besides, don't the grandmothers have authority even over the bears? Or is it the turtles? I'm not sure. I don't know. No, I don't think that necessarily falls into patriarchy. She didn't really, and I don't have a matriarchy square. Mr. Gon, she did say male. Okay. But since it's a circle system and they have to report to somebody else, they have to wait for the turtles to tell them to act. Does that make them patriarchs? Or does that make them agents of another power? That doesn't sound like patriarchy to me. That just sounds like a law enforcement organization. Yeah, it is a bit of a stretch. Let's see. Renovescio, I'm going to call you Scribe Lemon from now on for the bitterness. Oh, maybe sourness? I don't know. Anyway, I think that might be it, guys. I don't know that there's any, because she didn't really talk about anything. She didn't go into any other details. She just went on her circle thing after she did her statistics and life story bit and never really got anything beyond that. So I don't know that there's much else to discuss, unfortunately. Save for the fact, as Keeverdam has reminded me, I need to circle the whole card. Oh, Joshua Sager. Traditionally, it was a literal patriarchy as the chiefs were male and the head of the family was responsible for any family disputes. True, but I am only allowed to operate with the material presented in the presentation. And aside from historical truth or otherwise, did she ever bring up patriarchy, the phrase or the concept in the presentation? And really wasn't there. So that is a true fact. I don't know that it applies here, unfortunately. Poker, price for a bingo square, it's okay to sell out. No. There is no bounty on bingo squares. Unless I was doing some kind of charity stream or something, and then I'd have a completely different card for something else. There is no price for a bingo square. Sorry, Poker. There's sanctity to this process, and I will not violate it. So with that, everyone, I'm going to call it there after I circle the whole card. 1 second. I don't want to upset Keeverdam. The last thing you want is an angry Keeverdam, because then everything falls apart. So there you go. Yes, a WTF, although a soft WTF in the sense that I was just bewildered as to what we were talking about. not so much a brain melty one of contradicting points and everything, but just a massive absence of context. So there you go. But again, with that, I'm going to call this here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. If you'd like to hear from me again, I'll be doing my regular Sunday stream this coming Sunday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, where we will be doing the fourth and final part of learning how to be a Jedi, justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion master. Last part being inclusion. And so I'll be looking at that from the American Institute of Architects, Miami chapter, who are there to teach us what it all means. And it seems to all mean hire people on the basis of their gender or race. But who knows? Maybe I'll be surprised by the last part. But again, everyone, thank you for joining me. Appreciate you all. You guys are the greatest audience in the world. Be sure to let Monkey know that you are, because he needs to be reminded. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very, very little to do. And everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. Oh, and at the last second, Chicago Mike with the good job, Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox.
Wowee, wow, wow.
Thank you, Chicago Mike. Appreciate it. And if you want to watch another TEDx in the near future, well, there's a whole playlist of them on my channel. But if you want a fresh one, there'll be another one next week at this same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, for the next TED Excellence. So again, everyone, thank you for joining me. I hope you are all safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.